Hello and welcome to the latest video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Gameweek 22. It seems like I've been saying that for last year. We do this via the goals and assists imminent table, which use the Fantasy Football Scout members area stats to try and predict future returns. Patience was indeed a virtue for those that stuck with some of the misfiring players on our Game Week 21 list. Will the same happen again in Game Week 22? We'll reveal the latest tables ahead of next Tuesday's deadline. In addition, we'll reveal our early thoughts for Game Week 22. Take any questions you have at the end of the stream. So have a think about those and post your questions in the live chat. My name is Joe and joining me is Tom Freeman, Fantasy Football Scout's Deputy Editor. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, it was a long game week, wasn't it? But we can finally start looking ahead to game week 22 now, and got some really important cup games over the next few days. EFL Cup, two big matches on Friday in the FA Cup, and I think that's going to go a long way to deciding our chip strategies and how we're going to play it. So yeah, lots to think about, and transfers to be made too with the Salah update and the Haaland one from last night as well. So yeah, lots to talk about.
Yeah, and just about an hour ago, I saw an update that Alexander-Arnold should be back for the Cup game for Liverpool.
Yes,
I mean, he'd be
correct,
back for game 22. So he's only missed one game. I didn't own him before, but if I had, well, I probably would have kept because I've kept Erling Haaland since December the 5th or whatever. So yeah, I suspect I probably would have kept him as well. As ever, those in the live chat, can you let me know and let us know that you can see and hear us? I don't get a playback function anymore on my YouTube. I think that's because we broadcast straight to Twitter as well as, X as it's now known, as well as YouTube as well, which I think means that I can't actually see it back. So just let us know in the live chat that you can see and hear us. That'd be good. A few of you have joined early. J77 Lag, Multi-Level, Super Tiger, Kaja, Copycat, Alan, who says he can see and hear us perfectly. I don't know about perfectly. We'll try our best there, but you can certainly see and hear us. That is good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at how we got on. Because all the games are finally completed in game week 21. Then we'll have a look at the game 22 goals imminent to see who's on there. And bearing in mind, a lot of the names on game week 21 were mocked, probably by me, and they ended up doing very well indeed. So bear that in mind with some of the new names that will appear on Game Week 22's table. Me and Tom will also have a little look back at how we did in Game Week 21. Won't dwell on that too long, but we'll sort of have a look at our early thoughts of what we're going to do with our teams. But next week's show is on Tuesday, the day of the deadline, and we'll have much firmer plans there. And team news, we'll start to have some press conferences coming in. It'll be after some cup games. We'll have a lot more information there. So there's no point us putting like a bus team on for you to look at. We'll just sort of give our early thoughts. Okay, everyone's saying they can see and hear us. That's great. Dennis has joined us as well in the live chat. Ivan, Yemi, Felix, Yun as well. Do let us know where you're watching and listening from as well. It's always nice to know how far we're going. You know, it can be anything from Surrey to Atlantis. I think we had a few people from the submerged ancient city of Atlantis, which was great to see and hear you there. Okay, let's have a look, see how we got on last week. Goals imminent. Let's go with the goals imminent table first. I've got both up on the screen, but we'll go for goals imminent. A lot of these were already covered last week, but we've got the Liverpool lads that we were touting and Arsenal as well, which is big. And Pascal Gross didn't do us proud this week, but good fixtures, so should do going forward. But I'll talk about the Liverpool people. As Alexander-Arnold obviously didn't play, couldn't do us anything. Darwin Núñez, someone who's in my team a little while ago, didn't enjoy it, didn't like to see him miss. But he finally delivered not just a goal, but 2 goals. And that was great. And meanwhile, also Gakpo, who was on this list, he got an assist as well. So sticking with Liverpool, I think that just shows that patience is a bit of a virtue. Maybe Klopp is right in that Darwin Núñez is having so many chances. He's going to look like he's missing loads, but he's having more chances than anyone else. So he's he's going to score the same as a good striker. Pretend he's good. He's getting so many chances. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, he took his chances on Sunday, didn't he? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that doesn't always happen, but I think he's up to 10 goals for the season now in all competitions, which sounds like a good return for this stage of the season, considering that he certainly at the beginning of the season he wasn't playing every match, or if he was coming on as a sub. But he's playing off the left now with Jota through the middle, and I quite like him in that position because he still plays quite narrow. And they've got this potential double game week coming up in 25, haven't they? If they go through to the EFL Cup final, the Luton match from 26 will be postponed, and there's a chance it could be brought forward. And if it does, given what we've heard about Salah, and that it sounds very much 50-50 if he'll be ready to play twice in that double game week 25, suddenly you're looking at the supporting cast of Darwin, Jota, and they're very interesting, aren't they?
Definitely. I think I mean, if that match does go into get 25, so someone like me who currently doesn't have any Liverpool, I might try and get Alexander-Arnold after the next. I'm not in a particular rush because of Chelsea and Arsenal up next, but after that I'll probably look to get Alexander-Arnold, and then I'm going to be a bit down on Liverpool. I won't be able to triple up, or I could do, but for hits. So for someone like me, a free hit might actually make sense in Game Week 25, depending on who is actually doubling then and who blanks in 26. Because, of course, Chelsea and Spurs game, I don't know if that can go in Game Week 25 as well, can it?
I don't think it can, but I don't think there's the urgency to reschedule that one because neither side is in Europe. That's my understanding.
Right, okay.
I'm not. I'm certainly not an expert in doubles and blanks, but I've done a bit of it for the site and had a look into it, and so I think it's much more likely that we'll just get the Liverpool Luton fixture.
Okay.
If Liverpool, of course, make it, they've got to get past Fulham at first on Wednesday. They're already 2-1 up, so they're in a good position.
Yeah.
But yeah, the free hit 25, I actually was in the comment section of the forum earlier on, and somebody suggested that. I think the only thing I'd want to look into further is that the big double in 37 could have some very different teams to the one in 34, which can also be a blank for some teams. But it's very much, we're speculating at the moment. If it works for your team, and it can work, but of course then, are you going to want these players, if you're just free hitting them in, you've got to think, okay, well, I can get triple Man City, I can get triple Liverpool, but are you going to want them then? Are you going to be in the same position in 26 then after free hitting?
And also there is the opportunity to free hit in 26 when those teams blank. So not just in Game Week 25 to take advantage of the double. And it's at Game Week 26 as well, because, there'll be Chelsea, Spurs, potentially, players out in 26 as well as Liverpool. So if you stock up on triple Liverpool and you've got Porro or Richarlison and Palmer, and in my case, Alfie Doughty.
It could be problematic.
I'd be stuffed in 26. So it's striking that balance. It's sort of loading up in 25 for doubles, potentially, and at the same time, not too much. But of course, Man City and Brentford do double in 25 and play in 26. So it might be there that I sort of focus my attention if I want to use my hit a bit later.
Yeah, and we'll get more clarity on 29 on Friday when Villa play Chelsea. One of those teams will definitely play in 29, and the City Spurs match is big as well for that. So we'll speculate now, but just hold on a bit longer. Don't make any transfers. And just wait until the FA Cup draw for the 5th round as well, which will take place over the weekend. And hopefully by the time we're on next Tuesday, we'll have a bit better idea of what we're going to do.
Well, just before we talk about the Arsenal players who are on our list as well, I just want to mention Pascal Gross as well, because I noticed, and I think you noticed, and a lot of people at Fantasy Football Scout noticed, that Estupinan was taking a lot of the set pieces, the corners, and Pascal Gross usually takes those. Pascal Gross will be on some, but Estupinan is sort of muscled in there, which further underlies his attacking threat. Because, of course, we've seen what happened with Porro once Maddison was out. Porro went from looking attacking to, well, hang on a minute, he's got serious assist potential here.
Yeah, completely. Estupiñán took 5 of the 8 corners last night, so he actually took more than Gross, who
Yeah.
took 3, all of them from the one side. So that could swing on the other side in the next
Yeah.
game. He was positioned as a centre half as Stupiñán, but Joe, it's quite a fluid system. He was still getting in some good positions as Stupiñán, I thought, and it's good, and it's probably better for his bonus that he is playing as a centre half, as we saw yesterday,
Yeah.
because his pass completion goes up. He's not getting dispossessed as much, which is bad. His negative bone at BPS. So yeah, I'd rather him as an attacking wing back, but it's not a deal breaker with
No.
Estupiñán if he is as that left-sided centre half.
No, definitely. Also, just to mention that we are getting some reports in where people are watching and listening from in the live chat as well. FPL Copycat USA, Darren's from Hong Kong, watching from Hong Kong, Manchester for J77 Lag, Northamptonshire, some really specific ones as well. Ivan is literally driving down to Limerick in Ireland, and Dennis Robertson's very specific. He's in Her Majesty's Prison, Slade, and he is in the bunk above Fletcher. So that is quite specific there. I hope Fletcher's listening as well. And also, Wild West of Australia from P. Georgie there. That's the main bit of Australia I haven't visited. I've visited the other bit, the middle bit, the southern bit, the eastern bit. But the western bit, on account of Australia being about as big as Mars, I couldn't go to all of it. Arsenal players. Saka famously let lots of us down. Who captained him? Odegaard on the list as well. He also let us down. But it's Martinelli who didn't start. As a veteran of owning Martinelli last season, I remember there was a doubt he was going to start. And a lot of people dumped him, and I kept him because that's the person I am. I just end up keeping players forever. And he came on, and he did similar. He came on, and I think he scored and got an assist. That's just something. So he's still a really good player. We spoke about him last week as well. I mean, does this signal that he is actually a good player to get in? Because even if he doesn't start.
Yeah, I mean, I love Martinelli as a player. Owned him last year for long periods. I've always been a bit concerned this year that he's not getting that the really good quality chances. I think his big chances have been really down, but he's probably their best finisher, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you've got to get him into those positions, which he scored in twice from at the weekend. So he's one to monitor for me. The other two let me down, as they did a lot of other people, especially Saka.
Yeah.
I thought he did okay, but he wasn't really. I would have liked to see him a bit closer to goal, but I do think that they went with the back five, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they spoke about it before the match. Hodgson said he was going to double up on Saka, try and stop him getting in behind his full back, and in that sense, it kind of worked. They still lost 5-0, but it nullified Saka, didn't it?
Yeah.
But I had a look at the stats, and they're still very good for Saka.
Yes. Well, hopefully he's still on the goals imminent and assists imminent tables. Because if he's
good fixtures,
if he's dipped off, that indicates that his underlying stats haven't been very good, and that's a worry. But we'll look at those in a sec. Obviously, we spoke about Gordon at Newcastle last week. As well. So that sort of wraps up the goals imminent, how we did there. Assists imminent, pretty much loads of blanks here. Some didn't play. Obviously the Arsenal players let us down. And it's only really Martinelli got anything. No assists though, just obviously his 2 goals. He was mentioned on the assists imminent table. Saka let us down, Trippier, Fernandes, Grealish, Kulusevski, Odegaard. And Udogie as well didn't get us any returns. So it remains to be seen if any of those are still on the list. Okay, so I'll put up the goals imminent table. So this is the latest going in for ahead of game week 22. So bear in mind we mocked Darwin Núñez last time out, and he got 2 goals. I think we weren't that keen on Martinelli really, and he got 2 goals. So
yes, sorry, Joe. Yeah. I mean, he was benched, wasn't he? But these are the type of players that can come on and make an impact. So.
Definitely. So, I'm not gonna mock any of these players. But there's three I particularly want to talk about, but we'll sort of go down the list so far. So this is last four matches. They've got to have at least 10 shots, and they've got to have expected goal delta of a significant amount. So they've underperformed there. So it's bringing in a bit of expected stats into sort of old school analog stats. We've also got shots in the box here. So Wilson, if he is back from Newcastle, even though they are away to Villa, could be an option. But I suspect if he does play at all, I don't know if he's going to be back for this game. But if he does play at all, he'll be, I would imagine, off the bench. But nevertheless, he's had 10 shots, all of them from close range, and three on target. He's had a big chance and he's missed it. These are in his last four matches he has played, not the last 4 game weeks. So could be an option there, but it's very unlikely he will start or possibly even play. And also, it's quite tough. Newcastle are pretty bad away, aren't they? And your team are good this season on the whole at home.
Very good at home, yeah. The game week 22 match had been touted as Wilson's return.
Okay.
We'll have to see what they've obviously got an FA Cup game this week, and we'll hear from Howe a couple of times. But Isak's been playing very well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to ease him back in rather than there's no real need to put him straight in that 11. Are you considering Isak, Joe, at all, or?
I mean, I've got Haaland, Solanke, and Watkins.
Watkins, yeah, okay.
I think realistically for 25, I should be targeting Tony. He just plays twice. He's a good striker. There we go.
Done.
And I don't particularly... Well, we'll talk about Watkins in a sec, but I don't particularly want to lose him just yet. So if anyone, it'll be Solanke. And I might need money. So Isak just might get away. He just might escape me.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Alexander-Arnold. News in today, they should be back for game week 22. As expected, goal delta is he should have is expected to have scored at least a goal, and Wilson expected to score at least a goal as well. Across his last 4 matches he has played, he's had 9 shots, 3 inside the box, 2 big chances, missed them both. We have to keep in mind that he's a defender in the game. So for a defender to appear on the goals imminent table, that's sort of special Graham Alexander territory. It's quite rare. Porro might pop on here occasionally. It is very rare. So you do take note, and especially because he's quite high up as well. I'm a non-owner. I don't plan to get him in for Chelsea and Arsenal. It is a tough game, Chelsea and Arsenal, in comparison, but they're in such good form. So, I mean, they could easily score a lot and he could easily do well. Non-owners should be worried, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Chelsea game against Liverpool, it's traditionally a very low scoring game. I think 4 out of the last 5 matches between the two have been goalless, but 0-0.
Okay.
So if it's going to be that, then and if Trent's playing, he's probably going to get 9 points because of the way he does with the bonus point system. But I do get that if you don't own him with Chelsea and Arsenal next, you've probably got a little bit of time to get him in, rather than it's not like he's playing Burnley at home or anything like that.
No, as he is in game week 24.
Yes, you're not quite at that stage yet. So I mean, I think people when he appears on this list, like you say, Joe, assists are Trent's bread and butter. Bonus is his bread and butter. So if he's on the goals imminent list as well, and he's getting those shots albeit from set pieces, we know what he can do. And I held on to him because I sold Haaland a few weeks back, so I had a stronger all-round squad. But I didn't know he was going to be back for 22, but that was good news this morning that he might play against Norwich at the weekend. And if he plays against Norwich, then he should be ready for Chelsea.
We've got a couple of Arsenal players next. Trossard, who may or may not start. And to be honest, it's not looking like with him, and we spoke about Martinelli earlier, it's not looking like it really matters. They can do damage whether it's sub or starting. Trossard got a goal. He's had a couple of he's had 3 big chances, missed 2 of them. He's had only a couple of shots on target, 10 shots, and 5 of those inside the box. And he was expected to have scored at least 1 more goal than he has. So this is the XG delta, means how much they've underperformed. So he should have really got 2 goals according to expected stats. And Jesus as well should have got at least a goal. He has no goals. missed 2 chances, just the 2 shots on target. 11 shots, all of those inside the box, so all at close range as well. So once again, someone shouldn't be, I'm not going to mock him. I know people don't think he's, the ideal forward for Arsenal in terms of scoring, but these are impressive stats still, and it's an attacking side, and they got Nottingham Forest up next. So them, Martinelli, and we'll talk about Saka in a second. This is still a lot going on to interest us as FPL managers in terms of the Arsenal attack, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, they've just scored 5. We're a bit down on them because of Saka and Odegaard not delivering, but they came back from that winter break and they scored 5 at home against a Palace side. Not many teams score 5 past Palace because of the way they set up.
Yeah.
And I'm probably like, I mean, I own Odegaard as well, and I'm kind of thinking, what do I want to do with these players? There's no imminent double for Arsenal, so they might have to become make weights. But for now, a trip to Forest, who didn't look great, I didn't think, against Burnley against Brentford on Saturday evening, shipped 3 there. I think I'll probably end up keeping them both a little while longer. I'm not looking at Jesus myself, only because what you alluded to earlier, Joe, is that there's a lot of forwards about at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah.
Solanke, Watkins, Tony, Isak, Darwin, Haaland. So it's hard for him to get in ahead of them. But Arsenal are still going to be a big factor in our seasons.
Definitely. So. I mean, I'll just skip a couple of players and I'll go straight to Saka as well because it's linked in as well. His stats are really impressive still. So he's still on this table. He's still due a goal. He's scored a goal in his last 4 matches, but his expected goal delta is 0.73, so he should have scored around about 3/4 of a goal more, if you see what I mean. So getting on for nearly a goal more. He's had 4 big chances, missed 3 of them, 4 shots on target, 16 shots though, so it's not like he's been slacking. 10 of those from inside the box, so 6 of those from just outside the area as well. And J77 Lag in the live chat brings up something that I spoke about in FPL General's video and podcast I did yesterday, which was that I did some analysis on Talisman annoyingly after the deadline, of which I look at who the most attacking teams were and who is most involved. And in that case, Palmer was the clear front runner. He was the talisman for Chelsea, still is obviously. But with Arsenal, they had no talisman. No talisman made my list, so you had to be involved in at least 40% of the goals while they're on the pitch. Yeah. And Arsenal didn't have any of them. And as J77 Lag, that indicates that Arsenal spread the goals about, so it's really hard to predict who will get the points. What I think, though, is in terms of, there is a sort of a difference between owning and captaining, though. So what I was specifically talking about was the captain. So I am reluctant to captain an Arsenal player because they can hammer Nottingham Forest 6-1 or something, and Saka could get nothing. Or he could get 4 goals. I don't know. Whereas if Chelsea hammer a team 4-0, I suspect Palmer's got a couple of goals and an assist out of that. So that's the difference. But I'm happy to own Arsenal. But I guess, it's like buying a ticket in the lottery and all of that. If you've got 2 Arsenal attackers, you're narrowing the odds, aren't you? Because Odegaard could do well.
It still didn't work. It still didn't work. They scored 5, and I think anything. Although Gabriel thankfully popped up and got a big haul. Yeah. But it's a very good point about Arsenal and goal involvement, FPL goal involvement in teams. It's really interesting to look at it because, and I think Arteta spoke about it after the game, the fact that the goals are so spread around. Yeah. He sees that as a positive. FPL managers don't. I mean, Palmer at the end of the day got a penalty and bonus. If Arsenal get a penalty, Saka scores it, we're probably not having this conversation. No. But I do think there is something in that when you say, if Chelsea are going to go and win 3 or 4-0, Palmer's pretty much nailed on to be involved in some, might only be an assist, but I think he is probably going to get a goal and assist. He feels fundamental to that team, doesn't he? Whereas Saka, not so much.
Yeah, he's on corners as well, and he still came away with nothing.
Yeah. Well, that was it as well, wasn't it? He did have the assist for
taken away
a few minutes, didn't he? And then it was deemed an own goal. 6 points I would have been content with. But it's something to think about, and it'll be interesting to see how people deal with Arsenal now, because everybody's going to be looking at City, Liverpool if they get the double as well. But Arsenal, they don't blank in 26. They've got some okay fixtures. They've got Forest, they've got Burnley, they've got Sheffield United coming up in the next 6. So keeping hold of Saka, I don't think it's a terrible idea at all. I think he can still probably, wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Forest and gets something when we all haven't captained him.
Definitely. That's so. I mean, also, we titled this show "Keeping the Faith." Keep the faith? Question mark. And Saka's one of those key players. And it sounds like you're similar to me. I am keeping the faith. I do think the fact that he's on here, he's got good underlying stats. Arsenal are clearly attacking force. Nottingham Forest is a good fixture for them. All of those point to keeping Saka. But as I said earlier, it's the captaincy, because I don't know if Saka will. I think Arsenal are going to do well. I don't know if Saka will. So that makes me want to keep Saka, but not captaining him. And so that's the way I am with Arsenal at the moment.
I think there's a bit of a lack of options last week as well, wasn't there? I mean, Palmer was the obvious one. We did a video on it.
Yeah.
And it was close between the two. But beyond that, it's I mean, we're in a situation where we haven't had Haaland, we haven't had Salah, we haven't had Son, we haven't had those go-to players, have we?
No.
So hence we're going down a tier, and that's why we're kind of looking at players like Saka and Palmer, things like that. Will it be the same in 22? I don't know. It sounds like Haaland's at least training, so we'll see.
And another player in the same bracket as Saka is Watkins, who owners might want to be getting rid of. Before I talk about his stats, I'll just mention that Kuna's just above him on this list. He should have got around about a goal on top of the goal he's already scored in his last 4 matches. He's had 10 shots, 6 inside the box, and just 2 on target there. So it still should be in consideration with Wolves fixtures with Manchester United, Chelsea, Brentford, Tottenham, Sheffield United over the next 4 fixtures or so. So they're okay. They're reasonable fixtures. But it's Watkins really I want to talk about, because in the same way that Saka is people are thinking of ditching. And I am, once again, I'm keeping the faith with Watkins myself. And I suspect you will, not just as a Villa fan, but because you look at the stats. And so he's had 11 shots, 9 inside the box, 3 on target. He's got no goals in the last 4 matches. Should have got 1, though, according to expected stats. And also, I noticed something that Late Riser posted up, which I think is from your words, maybe. Either you or Neil or Mark or one of the other writers there. But so Late Riser was quoting some stats from a Fantasy Football Scout article. I don't know whether that was yours.
It was, yeah. It was a table which we pulled up from the members area, which Saka's got 1 goal and Watkins has got 1 goal and 2 assists in his last 7 games. So that's why the sample is game week 15 to 21. It's the drop off. Yeah. Okay. Whereas the hot point before that. Okay. So,
but the stats that the Late Riser pulled out from your article was that from game week 1 to 14, he was averaging per appearance 2.9 shots, so about 3 shots. His shots in the box was about 3. Half a shot was being blocked on average, and he was getting around about a big chance. And in game week 15 to 21, shots was the same, 2.9, so exactly the same. It was around 3 shots. Shots in the box, 2.3. That's down a little bit, not significantly. Block shots, 1.1. So he's coming. That says to me, and I'll read out who he's played in a sec in that period, that he's facing tougher defenders. and as a result, his big chances reduced substantially to just 0.1 in a match rather than 1.1 big chances per match. But Late Riser points out from this article as well that during this tough period from 15 to 21, he did face City, Arsenal, Brentford and Everton. All have very tough centre-backs to go up against between that, and they're all in the top 7 for expected goals conceded. So he's come across some of the best defenders there. And his next fixtures are Newcastle, who are woeful away from home. Also, they've got Sheffield United, game week 23, Manchester United, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Luton, and then Tottenham. None of those are known for their clean sheets. So this says to me, I'm keeping Watkins, because in tough fixtures, he might not do so well. In easier fixtures, game weeks 1 to 14, he had plenty there. He could do well. So yeah, am I right to keep the faith?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I really had a look at that big chances stat to try and work out why that was happening. Being a Villa fan, I've seen all the games, and I haven't really noticed a drop off in the way he's playing or his role. You know, he plays the same. It's every week under Emery. He's very much the focal point of the team. I think we faced some tough defences, as you say, City, Arsenal, Everton. He got the goal against Brentford, but yeah, tougher. I mean, we should say at the same time, he's also played Sheffield United and Burnley at home in that period as well. Games which you'd expect him to do better in, and he hasn't.
Yes.
The only thing I can see which has really changed in terms of personnel in those periods is Leon Bailey coming into the team and becoming a bit of a regular. But it's not like Leon Bailey's come in and he's gobbling up all the big chances. I think I put it in the piece that you know that isn't happening. But maybe the dynamic of the team changes a little bit with somebody like Bailey who's very direct on the right compared to somebody like McGinn who had been previously playing in there. Whereas when McGinn's in the team, he's very much looking for Watkins more, and where Bailey is a bit more get the ball, get your head down, run, dribble, take players on.
Okay. I was just going to say, with the fixtures with Watkins, from what you've said there, I think the next set of fixtures is the chance to look at whether Watkins is worth dumping. Because with Newcastle at home, and then they've got Sheffield United and Manchester United. It's sort of around that time when I'm going to start wanting to get Alexander-Arnold in. And in a way, I sort of hope he is still poor by then, because if I would be faced with probably a flat choice, Watkins or Alexander-Arnold. I will not bet or fall both.
Right.
If I want to have other players from Liverpool and Manchester City.
Yeah.
And I think Alexander-Arnold wins that competition against Watkins. But because they're very similarly priced, obviously different positions, but similarly priced in terms of budget, I'll just go down to a very cheap striker, Chris Wood, perhaps. Yeah. But I want to see the next games. I want to see him against Newcastle at home. I want to see him take on Sheffield United.
And we did look a bit leggy before the break at Everton, I thought, and in the matches before that. We've had a break now. We saw what it did to Arsenal. They've come back and they feel rejuvenated, a lot more energy. We've had some important players out. We've had Pau Torres out. Kamara had a 3-game ban. These aren't creative players, but they're players that are important to the way we play as a team and the build-up and things. So let's get them back in. We're very, very, very good at home. I don't think anybody's got a better home record than Villa this season. 2 of the next 3, they're against Newcastle and Man United, but I back us to score in both of those games. Yeah. Sheffield United away. I think, we wrote a piece in the Watkins piece. We looked at Tony. The Forest fixture was great for Tony at the weekend. It was always written that he was going to score in that match. But now you look at Tony's fixtures and he's got Tottenham and he's got City and he's got Wolves. And he could do well in that. He's traditionally done better against when they can play on the counter-attack. But I still think I'd want Watkins over Tony for that next couple of games.
Yeah,
so I think we've got time.
Yeah, for those who've already got Alexander-Arnold, for example, that even though Tony's double game week fixtures are against Liverpool and Manchester City, nevertheless is a double, and he does play in 26, as does Watkins. But it's around about then that people might think, I want Tony for the double, Watkins is going to make way, similarly priced. And I might come into that conclusion myself. I think for me, it's really going to be between Watkins and Alexander-Arnold. And but as you said, I think so those next few games, those 2 home games, Sheffield United away, that's the time I really want to see, and it's around about then, towards the end of that little run.
And,
think of move
as well. Everybody's thinking, Tony for the double, but if Liverpool get a double, then surely Darwin Núñez comes into the equation because he's going to have much better. Surely he's going to have much better fixtures than Tony. He's going to play Brentford and Luton at home. Yeah. You've only got so many striker spots. I presume by that point, Haaland obviously is going to be doubling as well. So maybe not moving for Tony this week and just doing what you're doing, Joe, and what I'm going to do as well. It gives us a little bit more time to assess it.
Definitely.
We'll know before the deadline, to be fair, if Liverpool have even got any chance of doubling as well. But it might not be, Tony might not be the only striker in that double, along with Haaland to consider.
I mean, it may well be that the optimal front line game 25, if everyone doubles that we think are going to double, is Haaland, Nunes, and Tony, and just go with that.
Probably.
And in fact, that sounds quite good. But as I said, I don't want to go there yet because I don't want Tony for all of his bad fixtures. I'll take a double, and I don't want Darwin Nunes for his bad fixtures. We've got a couple coming up.
It's not the time now, is it?
No, now is not the time. So it's quite a nice time for the fixtures to have a look. Another name on here is Doku, who I might get in. If I don't get De Bruyne in, we'll talk about our teams in a bit, but if I don't get De Bruyne in, I might go for Doku. Just because I think if he's in with a chance of starting at Burnley, that's could be absolutely huge, because he's a tricky player. He could really haul, and he's on this table. He's had 9 shots, 7 inside the box, just a couple on target. He should have got just over half a goal according to expected goal stats. He's only 6.5 million. So if I wanted to save a bit of money and get a Man City player, I do think Doku could be a really interesting shout. I think he sort of Haaland, Foden, De Bruyne, and then number 4 on that list is Doku. But he could be elevated because of cost, because he's only 6.5. But yeah, Doku, a good option.
In a double game week, I'd feel more comfortable with it, because he's probably going to play one, and then he's probably going to get maybe 10 minutes off the bench in the other. So he's an explosive player, isn't he? You've seen him got that. Is it the biggest haul of the season so far, I think, isn't it? You've got that 20 plus points.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I remember looking at the thing. I was just thinking, how many? It was just every goal he assisted or scored, and we know they can score a lot.
Yeah, and so he could. I mean, I think that who you land on, you're all going to want triple City for that 25 if you can get to it. And it is going to be interesting. I mean, if price wasn't an issue, you'd probably say Haaland, De Bruyne, and probably one other. But it will become a factor. Although with Salah maybe not an option. It depends on him, doesn't it, really? If we need him in 25 as well, then it gets very difficult. If it doesn't look like he's going to make it, then we might have a bit more cash around.
And last name on the list is Tavernier at Bournemouth. Now, he might interest me when Bournemouth have their double, which is the postponed game with Luton, because Tavernier's had 12 shots, 4 inside the box, but none on target. But nevertheless, he is quite attacking. So if I find myself in a situation where I do want to go for a Bournemouth, I can't get to Solanke for whatever reason, I think I'd still want a bit of their attack, and I think he's the next best. There. Not as good, but the next best.
Yeah, we haven't really looked at Bournemouth midfielders, have we, all season? Because we haven't had to, because Solanke's been doing the business. But Tavernier and Kluivert as well, although Kluivert and Sinistera seem to be being taken off quite early. So I think you're probably right. He probably is the best one there below Solanke. And I'm considering taking Solanke out. So if I do that and they do get that double, I don't know when it'll be. I think it'll probably a bit further down the line, but maybe we look to a midfielder then.
Yeah, I mean, once again, with fixtures as well with Solanke, I mean, he's got West Ham next, which is a good fixture for him. And then Nottingham Forest at home, very good fixture. And then Fulham away. Then you've got Newcastle away in Gameweek 25. So it's around about then, once again, quite good timing, because that's when we might be thinking about Darwin or Tony as well. So we need to fill up a few space there. And it's worth bearing in mind that Pedro at Brighton, even though he didn't get on the score sheet last night against Wolves, their fixtures continue to be good for the foreseeable future, really. And it doesn't have a tremendous amount of competition, although I think the likes of Fatty will be coming back. And March will be back at some point this season, it looks like, but a long way off. We're probably talking late April, May.
Yeah, I saw the De Zerbi post-match presser last night, and he said he can't play with wingers at the moment because he's got so many players out.
Yeah,
whether it's like Fatty, Matoma, and Adingra, Marsh, etc. And so he said they're going to have to adapt. and he didn't. Yeah, but I think Marsh had gone over to the training camp, hadn't he, or something? I think he is in and around the team, isn't he? He's not going to be back anytime soon. But
he's in training, just not full team training. So he's moving, which is
positive.
But yeah, Fatty should be back. Saw Lamptey back as well. So options are returning, but at fullback really. So that proves that the likes of Hinshelwood and Estupinan especially are going to be good assets at the moment, whilst they're the wingless wonders from Sussex. So I've just coined them. I don't know if they...
João Pedro, I mean, you probably watched the game, Joe. He was he was quite frustrating. He got in some good positions last night, didn't he? Just lacked a bit of that, lacked a bit of composure in the box.
Yeah.
He seemed to be playing in slow motion with one of them. It was like everyone's screaming like shoot, but he's a good player.
He's a world beater against Marseille, but Wolves rack up, and it's I feel a bit.
Although Wolves were good as well, to be fair, they're looking better, aren't they?
Definitely. But yes, that Bournemouth fixtures they sort of change around game week 25. So they've got some good fixtures now. They've just had some bad fixtures. So once again, a bit like with Watkins, I just think good strikers from these sort of lesser teams. By that I mean not a City and Liverpool kind of thing. Are going to do better in better fixtures. Just makes sense. Okay, let's have a look at assists imminent then. See who's due an assist. So some similar names. Well, this is good because we just spoken about Doku. He's top. So 8 chances created. He's got no assists his last 4 matches, but his expected assists is well over 1. So he should have got at least an assist over that time. Just 1 successful cross. So that just underlies his potential that we've just been talking about there. So if he's got goals imminent, assists imminent, it's good. Saka is next. 14 corners, 12 chances created. He has scored in his last 4 matches. No assists, and he's had 6 successful crosses. Should have got at least an assist. I think that was the one that was taken away from me cruelly at the weekend. So yeah, that's good to see those two. We've spoken at length about those two in there, but that just underlines what good assets they are. Trippier's next. Speculation that he might move to Bayern. Nevertheless, 11 chances created, 24 corners, no assists. Should have got at least an assist over the last 4. Alvarez at City. Now, if Haaland's back, if people have got 2 transfers, they'll probably look to use some money to elsewhere and to beef Alvarez up to Haaland. He's had 10 chances, 27 corners, 2 goals, no assists, and 5 successful crosses. How far is Haaland's not back in 22, he's definitely back after that, 23. And it's probably wishful thinking for me as an owner, but he's back in full training, and he wasn't in full training before. He was training, but he wasn't in full training, and now he's in full training. And that's a big change. So De Bruyne is back as well. Foden can play through the middle. Well, Alvarez is just gone now, isn't he, as an FPL asset?
I'm not sure, Joe. I mean, I've got him in my team. Maybe it's as an owner, I'm looking through it with those tinted glasses.
Where's he play, though?
Well, I was reading a thread earlier, and the 4 of them did actually play all together in I think it was the first game of the season at Burnley. So they can do it. I just think that Alvarez could get enough minutes, because I don't think Haaland and especially De Bruyne are suddenly going to go to playing 90 minutes every single match. I still think they're at the managing those. I think both of them will still have their injuries managed a bit. And then Alvarez is a versatile player, isn't he? He can play up front. He can play in that De Bruyne role. He can play out wide if they need him to, either on the right or the left. I'm just trying to work it out at the moment. Is it... So I'm probably going to lose a striker, be it Watkins, Solanke and Alvarez. And the only thing making me think about Alvarez is the double coming up. And do I want to just keep hold of him a bit longer and hope he gets a few minutes in different positions? I mean, he will lose penalties when Haaland's back, and that was one of the key bits of his appeal. Set pieces were a key bits of appeal. Does he keep that as much with De Bruyne back? Probably not either. So he takes a big hit. I'm just trying to work it out what I want to do. As I've been saying that, I'm thinking I should sell him, but before that, I was thinking I'm not going to sell him. But so it's a lot going on at City at the moment, isn't it? I think the Tottenham game will be interesting. Definitely. See where everybody's at. and then go from there. But I agree. Haaland needs to come in as soon as he's ready.
All the talk from those from City insiders is that Haaland won't play at all in that Spurs game, and that he's going to, and that 22 against Burnley is his first game back, and that's something that's been earmarked for a long time. But whether he starts that game or comes on as a sub or plays limited minutes, it remains to be seen. But I'm not going to read anything into the Spurs team sheet.
No, but I think for people that you're in a good position, Joe, in the fact that you've got him, so you play him regardless, don't you?
With me, it's just a question: do I captain?
For us and for me, it would take a hit to bring him in this week. So if he doesn't play at all against Spurs, I'd be tempted to just wait. I don't think I'd bring him in unless Pep were to come out on Tuesday and say he is definitely starting. He is fit. He is ready. But that ain't going to happen.
That's absolutely music to my ears. If more non-Haaland owners say that as he's a home to Burnley, I'm not getting.
Yeah, I mean it could get messy.
Well, I mean that level, he could be that good. Could be. So looking down this list as well, Bene at Luton, worth mentioning when Luton have a double, if they have a double in 25, if Liverpool get through to League Cup final for 26. But yeah, he's created 8 chances. I sort of park that thought, put that on hold. We'll come back to Luton to Gameweek 25 if there's a double there. Robertson's interesting at Liverpool. He should be back. His last 4 matches he has played. Just a reminder, he's had 13 chances created, 10 corners he took, 9 successful crosses. These are very good. He is very much assist imminent. But will he be minutes imminent? We'll have to wait and see there. But bear in mind, I might go for him if I can't get to Alexander-Arnold. Yeah. I'll just go for him. I've done that many times over the last few seasons, and I haven't drastically lost out. In fact, sometimes I've actually done better because
I think Robertson's really interesting.
He's at periods he's had better goal threat. Obviously, he's been out with injury for a long time, so I definitely want to see that. But
it's been a shoulder injury, hasn't it? So he has actually been fit for a while. It's just the impact on it, and it's taken a while. I think he'll hit the ground running. To be honest, I don't think there'll be any concerns once that is strengthened, and he can do that. I think he's right in. And 6.4 million.
It's 2 million cheaper than Alexander-Arnold. So this is why I'm thinking about him. I can just get him, no problem. But Alexander-Arnold does involve tough choices.
Sorry, Joe. Yeah, go on. I was just going to say, sorry, just one quick one on Robertson. A lot of people were saying because of the role that he was playing with Alexander-Arnold inverting, he wasn't getting forward as much. He was a centre back at times, but I think we've seen from Simicast and even Joe Gomez when he's been playing on that left side, they create chances, they get forward still. So I won't dwell on it too much, but I think he's a really good pick.
John Cahill in the live chat says tough to displace Gomez and Bradley at the moment. I don't know if that's tongue in cheek or he is an absolutely mental Liverpool fan. I think it's going to be enormously tough to displace them with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson on either side, but we'll see. Maybe Bradley will keep him out.
He did look good the other day. He won't keep him out, will he?
No, that's very wishful thinking for that for the young guns there. Grealish is next on this, very much an also ran in thoughts for City at the moment. Could, if he plays and starts against Burnley, though, could do well. Create 9 chances, had a couple of goals, so not to be totally dismissed there. Certainly after last week with Darwin Núñez, etc. I'm not going to dismiss anyone. Kulusevski's next. Once again, not going to dismiss him. I think people are going for Richarlison, really, and Porro. They're the sort of main shouts there. Spurs could blank in 26. They probably won't double in 25. In fact, they certainly won't, I don't think. 12 chances created, 3 successful crosses, and Pascal Gross, 15 chances created, 9 corners, 11 successful crosses. That's getting towards Trippier territory. And he's got an assist. Should have got probably another one as well over that period. I think if I own Pascal Gross, definitely keep. If I didn't own him now, I'd probably want to watch another game or two just to see. Because Estupiñán taking some of those corners as well is interesting. But I still think he's a great asset. Very much so.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, what we're going to do is me and Tom are just going to look back on our very briefly, because it's really boring when people talk about their teams. It's like talk to someone telling them, "Oh, I had this dream last night," and they go on and you go, "Oh, who cares?" But we will talk about our team very briefly, what we got, but more about our early thoughts looking forward. That's the sort of the main bit. While we're doing that, have a think about some questions, put them in the live chat, and put a question mark on it as well, so I can clearly see that. And we'll try and answer as many as we can. We're going for 50 minutes so far, so we should do this in good time. So I'll put your team up first, Tom. You've got 72 points, so a very healthy green arrow, I imagine. Do you want to just quickly run through your team, your stars, and feel free to dwell on the fact that you got Diogo Jota in?
Okay. So Areola in goal, 3 points. Gahey came in because I was hoping Charlie Taylor was going to be fit. It didn't really matter in the end, but he missed out. Alexander-Arnold missed out. You can see him on my bench. So Gahey came in for his 1 point.
Yeah.
Estupinan with 8 and Gabriel with 17, which was nice. Saka, captain blank, 6 points. Jota, who was my transfer in, 19, which was great. Palmer, 10. Odegaard, 3. And then a disappointing front line of Watkins, Solanke and Alvarez, who all blanked. The transfers in work this week, it was Livramento and Son to Estupinan and Jota. So that couldn't have gone any better.
Okay.
And it gave me a big rank boost. I think I'm about 200k now. I was 400k.
So it's just half your rank.
Going into the
I mean, it just shows
pretty
you
much,
especially with a lot of the heavy hitters out, it just shows you that, 1 or 2 good moves. So you did 2 moves in 1 week as well. But halving your rank is pretty, whatever level you're at in the game, whether it's a million or in 20th or whatever, it's absolutely huge. And and you got 2 players who should get steady returns all the time and can be explosive.
Yeah, well, after the Salah news, which we've had last night and tonight, he's going to be out for a while now. So Jota suddenly now, he's had a price rise. He looks like he's pretty important in that team now. I think he's got ahead of Gakpo. So I'm happy to own him. Tougher fixtures, Chelsea, Arsenal, not ideal at all, but I think I'm happy to have him for those games. So I've got 1 free transfer now after making 2 last week. I've only got 1.9 million in the bank. So a lot depends on Haaland. I think Salah's a sell for me now after this news. I kept him because I wasn't sure what's happening with the injury, with Egypt, etc., how far they would go. But now I don't think I can keep him on the bench when there's no guarantee he'll even be back for 25, which is a long, long way away. So I think he needs to be sold. So that money will be used to bring in Haaland if I decide to do it this week, or I could do it next week. And it really is dependent on what we see against Spurs.
Okay, so I mean, 2 questions about that move is who's in the frame, who are you earmarked to replace to get him for Salah, and also who do you bench? Because that's a really good strike. That's a good front 7 there, and with Salah, that's 8. Well, whoever replaces Salah.
Yeah, well, that's why I might hold a transfer potentially because the team at the moment, and I've got the bus team set up, and Salah is on the bench, and it's fine because Palmer would probably be the player you'd bench at Liverpool, and I've done that before when he played Luton, and it didn't work out very well. So I'm loath to do that again. Alexander-Arnold will hopefully be back fit, so he can slot into the defence with. And I'd like to play Gahey this week, actually, at home against Sheffield United. So the team feels in reasonable shape. It's just what I do with Haaland. So if I bring Haaland in, I've got to decide which forward to sell. I'm pretty sure at the moment, if I had to make the move, it would probably be Solanke. But it could be Alvarez as well. And then I've got to work out what I do with who I downgrade Salah to. And that could be a Man City midfielder for that Burnley game. But I also, I like Eze too as well next week, but I don't think I'd move for him just yet.
So tough choices there, and it's one of those tough choices about the bench. And that's the problem I'm going to have, I think, next week with my bench, because I got rid of Lamptey, who was, he's back now, but not guaranteed to start at all with the Estupinan. So that means I've got a pretty good... if everyone was playing and if I replace players, I'm going to have to make some tough choices. So I'll put my team up. So I got 62, but I did take a -4, so I got 58. I'm still in the top 80,000. I think I'm 79,000 or so. So I haven't gone down that much. Small red arrow. And lots of return. All of my defense returned. I got Palmer returned, and that was it. So it was the defense that saved me this week. So I ended up with a 4-4-2. That was actually deliberate. Areola in goal, who was kindly was subbed off just before they conceded. So I preserved that -1. Didn't happen. And Alfie Doughty, obviously got me 5 points, got a return. Gabriel 17, Porro 6 points, Stupinan 8. Really delighted with that. Great. Midfield, okay. Saka let me down. Foden was new in. I got him in for Son. I've got Garnacho I decided to field. Thought he might do well. Palmer, obviously got those 10 points there and didn't captain him. And up front of Solanke and Watkins. And there's probably not that many out there. You've still got Haaland and Salah on their bench. And Dubravka as well I've got on my bench. And Anderson at Palace who got 0 points. So that was nice to get absolutely nothing on my bench there, which was good. But the problem I've got for next week... I'm not going to keep Salah and Haaland on my bench forever. That's just not sustainable. I could do it for one, but not for both. So for me, I'm looking at Salah to De Bruyne. I can just do that. I think De Bruyne is just going to keep getting better and better, more and more minutes, and have him in place for 25. He's going to go up 0.3 by the end of this. By Gameweek 22 deadline.
Triple City attack.
So I'll have Triple City attack done. Gameweek 22, Triple City attack. Don't have to worry about that. That's just that. Done.
Yeah.
And then I can focus on getting Liverpool. And luckily Liverpool have got 2 pants fixtures, 22 and 23. I'm not saying they're not going to do well then, but I can look...
You don't feel the urgency.
No, I'm looking at sort of Gameweek 24 to look at them. But it does leave me with a benching headache. So with this, I can't bench Alfie Doughty at home to Brighton because they will probably score, and Luton will do well. I mean, sorry, Doughty would do well. If there's Morris scores a header or something, Doughty will be on the end of it. I can't bench Pedro Porro. It's against Brentford. I just can't do it. He's a bonus point magnet. I can't bench Stupinan because I think they will probably score against Luton. And I don't know, I don't think there's going to be a clean sheet there for either Doughty or Stupinan, but I can't bench either of them because they both got such good assist potential, and in Stupinan's case, bonus potential as well. So I'm going to reluctantly bench Gabriel, I think, because I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he could score another header. But I can't believe he's going to do it every match.
No, he won't. I'm sure. Well, I say he won't. He could, of course, score a header. But think at Forest, at the City ground, it's really tough. I mean, I'd happily play any of your 5 defenders this week. I
haven't even gone to the fact I'm going to have to bench Anderson at home to Sheffield United. So ideally, I'd just play 5 at the back.
But you obviously can't do that because
then I'd have to bench one of Foden, Saka, Palmer, Solanke, Watkins, Garnacho, Haaland.
I presume you're benching Garnacho as it stands, are you at the moment? Now?
So, but essentially, my bus team, we'll talk about next week in more detail because we'll have more information there. So I will look to weirdly bench Gabriel and Anderson.
Right.
Because it just doesn't feel right benching any of the others. And then I will play Foden, Saka, Palmer, and Salah's replacement, whoever that is, probably De Bruyne.
Yeah.
So I'll have 3, 4, and then up front I'll have Solanke, Watkins, and Haaland. And Haaland will probably be my captain.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to vice captain possibly Saka or Watkins. Go old school. Just go for reliable players with pedigree, even if they let me down last week. But it's tough, isn't it?
I mean, the captaincy, if Haaland, if we're not sure about him, it will become difficult then, I think. I think if you own De Bruyne, that's obviously going to be a bit of a no-brainer to go with him.
Yeah, might do that.
If I'm in a situation where I don't own either of those players, Alvarez, I don't think will be I think there'll be minutes question marks over him as well. And then suddenly I'm back to looking at Saka, who I said I wasn't going to captain again. So I've
Yeah.
got to. It's really difficult one next week. I might even look at Watkins, but because I think a home game against Newcastle, I think that we can still do well
Yeah,
in
I
that.
think
But
so too.
I think ideally you want somebody from that City
Yeah.
fixture, don't you?
I mean, what I can
Ideally.
do is just still keep Haaland and Salah on my bench and feel Gabriel or Anderson, but that just doesn't feel it doesn't feel right that I've got the
Mm,
opportunity to just
yeah.
have triple City in place done. They've got a great fixture against Burnley, the standout of the week.
Yeah.
And then I just think, if Palace concede, that's it. Anderson's dream over. If
Yeah.
Arsenal concede, which they definitely, because they're away to Forest, and Forest have got goal scorers,
Yeah, they
and
have. Yeah.
there's potential anger there as well with the situation around potential points deductions, for example.
Mm.
So I just but I don't know which of those you would who would you bench if you were in my position there. Say you were going to definitely get De Bruyne in for Salah. Who would you end up benching out of that lot I've got there? Solanke maybe.
Um, yeah, although I think that West Ham away match, I think
Yeah,
West Ham had looked pretty solid before the
yeah,
weekend, but at Sheffield United, Diaz got so the new guy Brereton
mm,
Diaz, he had chances, but I think they could I think they could do okay. Bournemouth, they're going to want to come back after that
yeah,
4-0 loss, so
yeah,
it's very difficult. I mean, I would bench Garnacho, I think,
yeah.
because I think
Great first
Wolves are
sub.
playing very well. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Garnacho would definitely be on the bench, but let's have a look at it next week when we're a bit closer to deadline, when we know a little bit
yeah.
more. And because I'll probably need a bit of help with my benching
If
decisions too. So
I'll be weirdly quite happy if Haaland isn't actually playing. If they say, nah, 22 is too soon,
yeah,
23 is when he's going to come back. I'll be thinking, oh, that's good. I can finally play Anderson. I hope Sheffield United or something like that, or Gabriel. Okay, I'll just before we go, just quickly look at some questions in the live chat. Quite a few of you here. Snadevil, no love for Potter from Brentford. Who's that? He's Potter. He's got a double barreled name, isn't he? Proves like
Lewis Potter.
Lewis Potter. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
because Brentford's fixtures are terrible. They've got Tottenham, Man City, Wolves, and then they got Liverpool, Man City in the double. And if I was going to get a Brentford player, it would be Tony because he's the guy on penalties and he's their talisman. And if Tony wasn't there, and Bomo would have been their talisman as well.
Don't think Lewis Potter will be nailed on either, will he?
No,
Because they've got Reguilon
so
who's come in and
so so there's no love for. I mean, he's posted this a couple of times. So he's clearly very keen. I don't know if he's related or anything,
he's been, yeah, I think
but
Neil wrote about him a bit. I think he has been doing made a bit of an impact,
yeah,
but we've got Malpe who scored at the weekend. I
yeah,
don't know where Wiz is at the
yeah.
moment, but yeah, I don't see him as a kind of
No. So
completely. I like Jensen.
yeah,
I like Jensen in
okay,
midfield
yeah,
for. I don't know when Wiz is back from
no,
Afcon, but
okay.
that's obviously something to
So
monitor as well. So
so not nailed. Bad fixtures, better players from a team.
yeah,
So yeah, no love. Bartek noticed that Rice took a corner for Arsenal for Gabriel's goal.
did.
Yeah, is that something we need to worry about as Saka owners? Is it's going to be much less corners?
Potentially. I mean, I didn't look at the stats. Was that the only corner he took, or did he take more than that? I didn't actually see that. I did
I
notice it
don't
because they
know. I
obviously
don't.
scored from that. But I can
When
have a look.
Gabriel got his next goal, which wasn't a goal in the end, I did think it was Rice as well because people were talking about Rice, but I think it was Saka.
So
Obviously,
Saka took the
obviously
corner for
Saka
the
took that
second
corner.
one,
So
but it was on. I'm pretty sure it's on the different side to
yeah,
Rice. Now Martinelli normally takes some corners on that side, so maybe he
yeah,
wasn't in the pitch. So
yeah.
Rice took it. I'll have a look while we continue chatting and see who took what.
Just mentioning FPL Bateman's in the live chat. He's narrowly close to a grey arrow around the 20,000 mark. I think I got a grey arrow last season around the 11. I wish I'd screenshotted it now. I think I must have done somewhere. It was on a video somewhere. I was around the 11,000 mark and I got a grey
Yeah,
arrow, and that's absolutely impossible. It's just that's winning the lottery. But he's got he was 20,583, and he's gone up 6 places to 20,577. That's perilously close to a grey arrow, the fabled grey arrow. Finn, Saka for Jota or Watkins for Tony? I think we've spoken about this in length. Both of us would do neither. I think Saka and Watkins could do really well this week, and Jota and Tony have quite bad fixtures.
That seems like a good point to just return to that corner chat. Arsenal had 6 corners on Saturday. Okay. Saka took 4 of them, Odegaard took 1, and Rice took 1.
Just the one. So it's not something we need to worry about.
Not at the moment. No, I don't know. I don't think I would make either of those moves yet. I think Jota's really interesting, but this isn't traditionally a high scoring match. So whether or not you need to do, Saka probably has the better fixture, I'd say, and I don't think I'd do Watkins to Tony yet either. I mean, Tottenham away, they don't keep many clean sheets, admittedly. They're starting to get players back, Van der Ven, Romero. So you'd think those players would be up to the physical battle with Tony. Of course, he's on penalties and set pieces, so he can get goals. I think Watkins is okay at home.
I mean, I think Jota and Tony are good options a bit later when they're nearer the double. I really want to, and I think Watkins and Saka are good for now. Yemi asks ideal City midfielder to replace Salah. I think we've addressed that. For me, I'm looking at De Bruyne. But Doku is probably in the frame. He mentions Bernardo as well, the forgotten man of FPL, but he's getting starts, consistent returns, could play in real life, but also getting returns, and of course Foden as well. I mean, hate to say you can't go wrong. I mean, like Arsenal, they will spread the points out, but a little bit unlike Arsenal, Haaland is their talisman by miles. So for Haaland, and I still think at the moment it's Haaland, Foden, and De Bruyne, but I think Doku is 4th for me, but near.
I think Haaland and I think De Bruyne will be, he'll be next in line. The 3rd spot I think could be interesting. I think Foden will continue getting minutes, but it will probably be in a wider position than what he's been doing. And I think Doku could potentially rival him if he starts enough games.
Finn in the live chat's got a very similar team to me, but then he's listing all the differences, so he has quite a few differences. But he's worked out my score, and he thinks I should have got 63. Well, that's great, but FPL have other ideas. They've given me 62, and adding them all up is 62. But apparently he thinks I should have 63. I'll go with Finn rather than FPL. The F in FPL stands for Finn, my books. Matthew McCaffrey says Richarlison, I believe, is the best captain this week at home to Brentford. I'm inclined to say he could be a really good captain this week. Not the best if Haaland and De Bruyne are around, though.
No, but I don't completely dislike that. If there are doubts over if De Bruyne only gets 30 minutes off the bench again against Spurs and Haaland isn't ready, then suddenly we are going to be scrambling around for other options. And I don't mind Richarlison in that game. I think he could do well.
I would be tempted. I have actually, he's actually on my list of Salah replacements. I've kind of got De Bruyne, Doku, and Richarlison, because I think whoever I get in, I'm probably going to want a captain. And so that's what sways me to Richarlison, even though they're probably going to blank in 26. But we'll know more about that towards the end of the week.
Yeah, the only thing that slightly puts me off Richarlison is that I'm going to want Son as soon as he's back. And there is a chance that Son could be back for 23.
Okay.
Depending on South Korea. And I think that there's a chance they might play Japan in the next round potentially. So a big team is going to go out.
Yeah.
And that's my only thought process with Richarlison, that Maddison's going to be back soon and he's nailed on.
Yeah.
I think Kulusevski's nailed on as well, and of course Son is. So then you got Richarlison, you got Werner, you got Johnson, and maybe they might have their minutes managed a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe I should have moved for Richarlison 3 or 4 weeks ago rather than now.
Yeah, I think so. I think there are question marks there, and I think Maddison for me, I owned him from the off, and it was only his injury that I'm a big fan of him in FPL. Yeah. I mean normal football as well, but in FPL he's absolutely great. Good for bonus, good for all-round attacking stats. A question for you, Tom. Do you think Moreno keeps his place with Luca Dean on the way back?
It's a tricky one because he's done really well, Alex Moreno, but Luca Dean has been one of our best players in the first half of the season. He was brilliant. Now there was, as there is often with Dean, there was some rumours about him moving over to, I think it was Saudi. I think there was a club linked to him, but then that all went a bit quiet after that. I think he's still a risky I wouldn't buy him just now. I'd want a little bit more information. I think in time he could become first choice, but I just don't see Luca Dean, given the way he's been playing, and how suddenly he's just not going to become a factor at all. He's still going to start games, I think. So, and it might be opposition dependent. Moreno is a little bit better going forward. He'll attack the box a bit more than Dean, who is a bit more withdrawn and put a lot of crosses in. So, keep an eye on Alex Moreno, but it might not be. I would want to know for sure that he's nailed on. I don't think he is yet.
Yeah.
So.
English gentleman has waded into the live chat on my score. I definitely scored 62 points there. No debate. Well, obviously, with the hit. Yes, basically that's what I've scored, because that's what Bill have said I've scored. It's like a day. I mean, I would love to think they're wrong, but they're not. John Cahill, would you start Raya or Areola this week? I would probably start Raya. I'm starting Areola because I don't own Raya. So I think both of them can
start Raya.
Yeah, I don't think it's brilliant fixture for either of them, to be honest. But it's not terrible either. Bongo looking to sell Watkins or Bowen. You can't decide. I think you probably answered your own questions there. If you can't decide, don't. Because Watkins and Bowen are good players and good teams with good fixtures. So the only thing about Bowen is the creativity. But Kudos could be back because he plays for Ghana, doesn't he? Ghana are third in their group, and they've only with 2 points. And I don't think that's going to be enough to get them into the sort of third place qualifier into the final, into that round.
We don't know yet, but there is a good chance that he will be back for that Bournemouth game, and that'd be a massive boost for West Ham.
So a West Ham attack with Bowen, Ings, and Maxwell Cornet is not a comparison to one that involves Bowen and Kudos, basically. So I would probably hold both of those. If Haaland is... Who to take out to get Haaland in? So say he wants to get Haaland in, Watkins or Solanke? If there's a choice, I would probably take Solanke out over Watkins. Keep Watkins. I think we've been over that.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Yep. Finn is now apologising for me. He's worked out my score based on his score, not the actual score that I've got on my. I haven't got my team ID link at hand, but that's just what I've got. I really love this though, because I just love the idea that someone's arguing on my behalf to get another point. I don't really want it. It's like when you get given a penalty, but you didn't expect it in football. Like, okay, I'll take it. Final question then. Ivan wants to know who to bench out of Gordon or Watkins. Given it's at home for Gordon. Watkins, I would say bench Gordon, but I probably won't bench neither.
Maybe. I mean, you might be in a similar position to us where you've got a lot of options, but I'd absolutely bench Gordon before Watkins at home.
Okay. Just a reminder to everyone, do press that like button and do remember to subscribe as well, so you can keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. And have a look at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for the latest members offers as well. Thanks everyone who's joined us in the live chat. Some great questions there, and thank you so much for lobbying on my behalf to get an extra point that I thoroughly deserve. Obviously. Good luck with the game. We'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll have much firmer plans about what we're going to do. We'll have much more information at hand, but it's good to get some early thoughts together. Thanks so much for listening to us. Good luck with your game week as well, Tom, and I'll see you again next week.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you.